Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Chaz.Christopher. Usually each Friday I post new videos, but it's that busy time of year that my schedule is a little bit hectic. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notification so you are the first to know when I post. Okay, without further ado, this week's video is actually going to be about the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine. I actually took part of this trial. If you have been following my channel for a couple months now, you know that back in August, I got the first vaccine, and then 21 days later, I went back and got the second vaccine. And since then, I have been in this study. I will continue to be in this study for basically 2 years from the end of July. I do not know if I got the placebo or actually got the vaccine, but that will come in a part 2 video because I will eventually find that out. So let's talk about it. I was part of the phase 2 of the trial, and then now we have moved into phase 3. So I essentially, so that you know I'm not talking a lot of BS here, this was the first, you can see phase 2. All of this was, what I had to consent to. And every time the trial changes, I get a new one. So here, was when it moved into phase 3. You go through an incredible amount of data on yourself. I mean, everything that you've gone through in your life medically, which I've gone through a lot. You have to get them that doctor's information and sign all these HIPAA forms so that they can be in touch with that doctor. They obviously want to take every precaution they possibly can. For example, my skin is super sensitive to a regular Band-Aid. I get this huge, whelpy, red rash type situation where the Band-Aid adhesiveness goes. So in this pre-interview process, when we're going through all of this to see if I qualify, honestly, I didn't even think about telling them that. That's something I just dealt with my whole life and never really thought too much of it other than, I try to avoid regular Band-Aids when possible. If not, it's not the end of the world if I put that Band-Aid on there. Well, after I had received the vaccine and they put the Band-Aid on, they monitor you for a while, especially in that setting, it was still new. And so we're sitting there and it had been probably about 15 minutes or so. And I was like, oh, can we take off the Band-Aid to see what it looks like? And I took the Band-Aid off and there was this red rash around where the injection was. Well, obviously, that is one of the things they are looking for. They wanted to see and still want to see if that's something that is happening within people. So, he kind of looks at it and he's like, oh, we need to measure that. And then I'm like, no, that's actually just from the Band-Aids. That happens, totally normal, no big deal. Where the actual needle went in, around it, there was nothing. It was totally fine. So he was like, Chaz, why didn't you tell me that? That's something we need to know. So then right there in that moment, I had to get all my dermatologist information and make sure that they have that on file. So going forward, if something like that does continue to happen and it worsens, etc., that's stuff they needed to know. Going through this process, I felt very comforted. I never once was afraid. A lot of my friends asked, why would I do something like this? Especially because, it was phase 2 at that time. We didn't really know much about it. A lot of people have had great concerns with the Trump administration being at the head of this. And at that time, honestly, I didn't know necessarily which trial I was going to be put into. Once I got to the actual place here in Houston that is running the trial for this part of the United States, I was divided into the Pfizer group. I could have been divided into the Johnson & Johnson group because at this clinic, they were doing both studies, but it just happened to get classified into the Pfizer vaccine. What I did know was that months prior, we all saw the first vaccines given in Washington State. Since the time that was given and the time I decided to join the study, nothing significant had come out of it. No significant reaction had been reported in the media, had been reported to me when I was going through the process of signing up for this. That gave me a sense of comfort. Another thing was the alternative of getting COVID is pretty bad. I don't know with my health issues I've had in the past how my body will take COVID. Definitely gives me some reservations and think that, it could, even though I'm in my 30s, it still could affect me adversely. And that was enough to make me weigh the pros and cons of the vaccine and the actual illness itself. The vaccine, you may have allergic reaction at most. I mean, there's some other side effects, again, given your genetic makeup, but that was the whole point of the study. I was in a study. If something was to go wrong, I have emergency cards that they gave me that I would instantly give to my ER doctor. The doctor that is over me in the study would have been notified, and they would have done everything in their power to make sure I was okay. So it wasn't as if I'm going into this thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna die, or I'm gonna get a deformity or something like that. And I think that eases a lot of fear. I also desperately wanted to do my part and help put an end to this ultimately. If that meant that I could volunteer my time and body to do that, what a wonderful way to go along with the theme of my life and what I always try to portray on the Straight channel and in the channel with let's make the world a better place. Sometimes to make the world a better place takes sacrifices, and in that particular situation, I was willing to sacrifice my body for science and for the betterment of humanity. And I know that that's not everybody's cup of tea. We all have our own ways of giving back and helping the world. This was a way that I saw I could step up to the plate and help. Once I was there and I was with the nurse and the doctor and all the information I got, I felt very safe. I felt very comforted. Every day after the shot for 7 days, I had to post in this journal, my temperature got taken. I had to report any difference whatsoever that I had noticed. If for whatever reason I thought I was infected with COVID, not from the vaccine because that's not possible, but from the outside world, I would have had to actually give myself, and still would have to give myself a COVID test and send it to them and then report. Or if I am to get hurt right now, I do and go to the hospital, I do have to let them know because I am still part of their trial. Before they got approved by the FDA, they did send me a letter saying that for the people who received the placebo, they were going to try to work with the FDA to give us the option to either stay in the blind study or actually receive the true vaccine if we want to do so. The plus side for them is they're already going to be collecting our data for the next 2 years. The next time I go back is in February and my blood is drawn, and if I get the vaccine and I didn't have it before, that's just another person in their study that they can monitor, not the placebo, but the actual vaccine and what it is doing. Obviously, through the study and the amount of people that they have tested, they do have confidence that it's safe for the general public. Me just being in it is going to help us learn the more long-term, how long these antibodies last, etc. I also should tell you that I'm not a person that gives much credit to conspiracy theories. I am a very analytical person. I'm going to go into the process and do all of my research. I can look at a conspiracy theory and see where, I don't know how to best put this, but I can see the bullshit in it, for a lack of a better word. For example, for me to even give any sort of credence that this vaccine was putting a chip inside of you to monitor you is so far outside of science, so far outside of where technology is right now. And to put a chip inside of you, that is an invasive process. The COVID vaccine is not an invasive process. It's actually less invasive than your regular flu shot. There is no chip going inside of you. That is absurd. And it is worrisome that there's so many people in America who are willing to let their brains be hijacked. If you are watching this and you're one of those people, do research on how big a chip like that would have to be and look at the tiny size of the end of the needle of what is going into you. It's just not something that's even possible. I hate to tell you, but you already have that. It's called your cell phone. All of those cell phones are constantly monitoring you. So to assume that some random scientist or a person like Bill Gates, so stupid, would want to do that, it serve him any purpose is ridiculous, considering that your computer is doing that, your cell phone is doing that. That is not a reason to be afraid of this vaccine. Now, if you have legitimate concerns about allergic reaction, that's something different. Everybody's biological makeup is different. And that's why when you look at a medicine or you look at a vaccine, they list these different side effects. The chances of you personally getting it are incredibly rare. However, because we're all different and our biologies are all different, things like a strawberry may affect somebody tremendously different than somebody else. That's just the way humans are built. We're different, we have different sizes, different muscles, different genes. So yes, not everybody is going to have as easy as an experience as everybody else, I should say, but given the amount of people they have tested this on, there is procedures and protocols in place for that. Also, going back to the Trump administration, Pfizer was not part of Warp Speed, so if that was one of your concerns or fears, as far as the Pfizer vaccine goes, you do not have to place that with the Trump administration because the Trump administration had nothing to do with that. In fact, during the summer, Pfizer offered them more vaccines and the Trump administration turned it down. So quite the opposite on that situation. Now, once these vaccines roll out, obviously I have no idea what that process will be for the general public to get them. If you have a choice, if you get Moderna or if you get Johnson & Johnson or you get Pfizer, I don't know any of that. I can't speak on behalf of Pfizer other than my personal experience in the trial and how they have treated me in the trial. What they have done with their other pharmaceuticals, my beliefs and my opinion on Pfizer is totally separate than this particular trial. In this particular trial with me, they treated me well. I have been very comforted. I've never once felt unsafe, and I can speak highly of the process. Again, I don't know if I got the placebo or the vaccine, but I can tell you that both vaccines were the easiest shots I've ever received. I did not feel much more than a little sting like you typically do. I didn't have much, if any, soreness. I didn't have any other adverse effects. I was convinced I got the placebo, and the next time I went and I told my nurse that, and I was like, I didn't feel anything. Granted, my nurse has no idea what I got. There's only one person in this clinic who kind of knows what I got, but I'm just a number to them. They don't actually know it's me, Chaz. My doctor there doesn't even know if I got it or not. If something was to happen to me, she then could find out. She could have access to it in that moment to find out if I have it or not. But I told my nurse, nothing. I felt nothing. It was so easy. I think I got the placebo. And he said, these last few days, I've seen 80 patients. And of these 80 patients, they've all said the same thing as you. And I can tell you, not all 80 of you received the placebo. Definitely a majority of you received the actual vaccine, and you are all experiencing the same thing. So that gave me a lot of comfort as well. Also obviously confused me more of, okay, maybe I do have it. And once I do find out, I will let you know. I'll also let you know if I go back and get the vaccine. So if you do have questions for me, please ask me in the comments down below. To all of my regular subscribers, I know that this video was specific about the vaccine, and I've been off the last 2 or 3 weeks from posting because I have been incredibly busy with not just Christmas decorating, but rental property that I have to deal with all the time. So videos specifically related to that will be coming up, and the upcoming post, I look forward to showing you all of that. I hope you are all doing well and hanging in there. I know it's tough. I know we are all mentally fatigued, and we are just so ready for normality to come back to us any way possible. So just remember, take it one day at a time. You do you, I'll do me, and let's make the world a better place.